to prove Israel's genocidal crimes in Gaza. This is at the court hearing that was taking place at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Now, some of the evidence that the officials gave was that residents of Gaza were, quote, animals. Pretoria's statement, of course, came during a press conference following that first day of hearings at The Hague.
The words of Israel ministries, Israel members of parliament, the generals of the army, speeches such as calling people of Palestine human animals, shows a clear statement of intent to wipe out the Palestinian people out of Gaza. The UN Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination stated that such language is an incitement to genocide. Sadly, the world has not succeeded in stopping the genocide that is currently unfolding in Gaza. The international community has largely remained passive in response to these atrocities. Women and children in areas such as refugee camps, schools and hospitals have been targeted, leading to a humanitarian crisis. The Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the 6th of December 2023 called on the Security Council to press to avert a humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and unite in a call for a full humanitarian ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian militants. This plea of Ubuntu, a plea for humanity of the international community to prevail, was simply ignored. Israel's institutional impunity was reinforced.
Despite the adoption of the Convention to prevent and punish the crimes of genocide, atrocities continue, and the international community, according to the minister, has failed to translate the goals of the prevention into reality. And we know that the responsibility to protect falls on states, and those are some of the states that have acted a bit concerned and made it seem like they were worried about the children and the people in Gaza. And some of those states, like the US and the UK, a lot of people say it's quite laughable, and when they try to show some sort of empathy and sympathy towards Palestinians and Palestinian children, and a lot of people say those are always crocodile tears, and as the longer the war continues, the more children and people in Gaza continue to suffer. Many Palestinian representatives and people show their gratitude towards South Africa. Let's have more on that.
South Africa took a bold and proactive step on behalf of humanity to protect the Palestinian people and ensure that the Genocide Convention and international law do not become completely irrelevant, which is a prospect that must terrify all of us.
Israel's special genocidal intent is rooted in the belief that, in fact, the enemy is not just the military wing of Hamas, or indeed Hamas generally, but is embedded in the fabric of Palestinian life in Gaza.
This intent is evident from Israel's conduct in specially targeting Palestinians living in Gaza, using weaponry that causes large-scale homicidal destruction, designating safe zones for Palestinians to seek refuge, and then bombing these.
The dispute had crystallized as a matter of law. This was confirmed by Israel's official and unequivocal denial on 6 December that it was committing genocide in Gaza.
This is a case that could also finally empower the Genocide Convention, and is a very significant one for international humanitarian law, to showcase its usefulness and to prove that it's not really, or rather merely, a playground for the West. The West has now shown its discontent. Let's have a listen to this.
Watching African women and men fighting to save humanity and the international legal system against the ruthless attacks supported and enabled by most of the West will remain one of the defining images of our time. This will make history whatever happens.
A lot of people are speculating currently and trying to make sense of what Israel will say in its defense tomorrow, but no one really knows for sure. So we wait and see what Israel will bring to the table tomorrow.
Well, a large crowd here was seen amassing outside of the building of the Hague court where that hearing was taking place. Demonstrators also calling for the end of genocide against Palestine and also for a boycott of Israel. Pro-Palestinian activists were also seen gathering ahead of the hearing in South Africa, which of course initiated that lawsuit. Palestinians in the West Bank also gathered on Wednesday at Nelson Mandela Square in Ramallah to express their gratitude to South Africa for filing this lawsuit against Israeli genocidal practices. Well, let's get more on our top story now and cross